Alright, so we're going to pull off the front fairing, and you might need to do this if you're doing a S2N conversion or just want to pull the front fairing off. It's kind of all the same. So first couple of things, there's usually little rubber plugs on the mirror mounts. You can just kind of pry them off with a flathead, get them out. Now, if you forget to reinstall them, you will end up with very rusty bolts, because for whatever reason, Suzuki decided not to use stainless there. So don't lose those plugs, put them back in when you're done. Yay, I got stuck. So, a couple of things that are not obvious. You need the windshield screws, not the little Allens, but the screws up at the top. You need them out because they hold the outer fairing to the inner fairing. You also need to pull the little triangles from the inner fairing because they're screwed to the actual fairing and to the inner fairing. So pull those out. Set them aside. And then after that, it's just a bunch of Allens. Usually I want to start with mirrors because they're nice and accessible. Helps to find the right size. Pull those out, and we're lucky these mirrors aren't really in the way. Sometimes you have to turn them to get them out of the way. So something you don't want to lose is in the mirror base there's a little rubber gasket. They like to fall off and disappear into some weird region of the garage, never to be seen again. And if you bolt a mirror without it, then you probably will have shaky mirrors and you'll have maybe potentially cracked plastics. So once the mirrors are off, you can grab the Allens on the sides. Turn like that. Two sides, and then there are two that go from the top through the inner fairing and down into the main. They're super inconveniently placed because they're right under the controls usually. And that came out. These guys are super inconveniently placed because they're always under the controls, so you may need to turn the handlebars to get to them. So on both sides. And now the main fairing is actually ready to come off. So there's a little bit of a conundrum. You almost need 3 hands to do this, or use your knee or something, because what's going to happen is there's a plug in there for the sub harness. So basically what I'm doing is I'm unhooking the main fairing off the mirror bolts, like where the mirror bolts used to be, separating it from the inner fairing, and then kind of sliding and wiggling. Now, right around here, you can reach. You can reach the connector for the headlight subharness, and just squeeze the pin and unplug it, and that gives you fairing in your hands that you're now stuck with because you don't have a plan for where to put it. So I'm gonna go throw it in the lawn because that's the softest place I've got. So then the next thing you want to do is disconnect the inner fairing off the fairing stay. And this is another one of those pins where you push the middle and it lets you unhook it. And then there are, in this case broken, but there are pins coming off the inner stay that go onto, there they are, down low. It's just kind of pinned, plastic pin going into a rubber ground that you just pull out. That comes off, and in this case I have a bunch of random switches, so I will figure out what to do with them later. And in the meantime, well, I'm not saving them. In the meantime, I'll just let it hang. Now you can actually access your gauge cluster, which there's a connector to it. You push the end and just kind of wiggle it out. It'll come off. The connector itself is held on with a couple of tiny nuts. They're an 8mm tool. And then the cluster actually has yet another pin going through a grommet that you just push out. Okay, so cluster is out. Now the mainstay is just 2 big bolts. Just a guess, but probably a 12mm off this bike. Just turn them out. Nothing magical. And then, hey, the stay's not coming out. It's got a little hook on the back, so you just slide it away, and then it comes off. Also, you can probably use some needle nose pliers or something to pop the harness holding thing out. And that's how you pull the entire nose off. It's like sv650, sv1000, all the second gens are all the same. Yay!